So, this idea of God's plan, God's providence, that the Lord has a plan for you. There's so many places in the Bible where it talks about God's plan, where it talks about how God is specifically impacting your life in certain ways to bring about a positive or at least a beneficial to God, that kind of result. The whole Bible, in fact, is an example of that. However, today I want to talk about Joseph. How many of you guys know about Joseph? Anyone heard of Joseph? So pretty much everybody's heard of Joseph. Good. So, Joseph, I don't know if you guys know this, but Joseph's mom was one of 4 wives. Now, we don't do this today, but they did back then. And Joseph was born first to Rachel, who was the son, or the wife rather, that Jacob, his father, loved. So, when Joseph was born 11th out of 12, he was given all of the Lord's, or all of Jacob's blessing, and the double portion, and he was pretty much treated as the firstborn, even though his brothers were close to 30 years older than him. So you can already see how that's going to be an issue to start with, and how at the beginning of his life he has immediate turmoil because his brothers don't like him to start off. When he is 17, so he's grown up, and he's grown up as his father, loving him and proclaiming that he's his favorite, not being shy about it. Jacob definitely let people know that Joseph was his favorite child. Any of you have a favorite person in here? When other people are around, they kind of know it? It's hard to say, people want to say you don't, but sometimes, you just click with other people better.
Right.
Well, Jacob definitely loved Joseph more. And Joseph knew this. He was given a coat of many colors, which back then would have been more expensive to make. So it would have some weight, it would have some value. And his brothers did not like this to begin with. On top of when he's 17, he has a dream. And he tells his brothers about the dream. And says, "Hey guys, I had a dream where you guys all bowed down to me." Well, not the smartest move, little brother. When I was growing up, if my little brother said something like that to me, I would have done something. I'm not sure. I don't have the same sadistic mind that I used to, but it would have been something interesting. I would have had to make it special. Well, since his brothers know that he's kind of untouchable because he is his father's favorite, they leave it alone. Well, then he has a second dream. And he says, "Oh, all these 11 stars and the sun and the moon. So not only you brothers, but also mom and dad, you guys bow down to me." It's like, all right, once was enough. Like twice you're just really getting cocky, you little child. Once again, they're 30 years older than him, so it would be difficult to handle. But God saw him through this. He continues to see him through all the problems. And it wasn't his fault that he had that dream. He just had a dream and wanted to tell him. Probably shouldn't have, but he wanted to. So, needless to say, his brothers get fed up of Joseph's nonsense. Me being an older brother, I can understand. So, they take Joseph and they want to kill him, but the eldest brother says no. They end up selling him into slavery. So they take their brother and sell him to travelers, who then in turn take Joseph and sell him to an official in the court of the Pharaoh. So he's actually the captain of Pharaoh's guard. So he's an important man. They sell him there, and then there's something crazy that happens. And this small verse gets mentioned multiple times, just a couple words. But it says, the Lord was with him. It says, the Lord was with him. A lot of times when we go to new situations, Whether we go to a new school, whether we go to a new church, whether we're just in a different situation than we're used to, it's hard to remember that the Lord's with us. Well, can you imagine getting sold and then taken to a different country? And then you still know that the Lord's with you? That's some trust. And that's trust in what God's plan has for you. Well, Joseph knew that God was still with him. And he honored God. And he rose up the ranks in the household of the guard, of the captain of Pharaoh's guard. His name's Potiphar. So he rose up in the house and became second in command, right below him. It says that everything in the house was under Joseph's control. The only thing that Potiphar, it said, still had was the food in front of him. So he let everything else, Joseph, you just take care of everything. I'll show up, I'll eat, and then you just take care of everything else. Well, Joseph did this until Potiphar's wife realized how attractive of a man he was. And Joseph, being a man of integrity, stayed away from her. Joseph, being a man of God, he says, your husband, Potiphar, has done so much for me in my life. How can I sin against him and sin against the Lord in that way? So he stays away from her. Well, she frames him and ends up having her husband throw Joseph in the dungeon, in jail. So, doing everything right as Joseph did, he ends up in jail. How many times do you in your life feel like you've done everything right, and then suddenly you get blamed for something? Suddenly you get someone else's problems shoved onto you when you know you did nothing wrong. It happens in this life. And when Joseph experienced this, it doesn't say that he despised God. It doesn't say that he got sick of what was going on and just decided to throw everything away. No, it says that Joseph continued to stay faithful. He continued to stay faithful to God and believe and trust in God's plan. And then that verse shows up again. It says that the Lord was with him. The Lord stayed with him. Joseph in jail, in a dungeon, rises up the ranks again. It says that the Lord was with him and that the Lord made him to prosper. He stayed faithful in God's plan, and Joseph prospered in jail. Not many people prosper in jail. Joseph actually became the favorite of the chief jailer. I don't know about you, but when I think of the relationship between prisoners and guards, I don't think of it as a positive. I don't think that a guard is going to say, you know what, you're a pretty awesome guy. You know what, you can do my job, and in fact, I'm just going to sit back and let you take care of everything. I haven't heard very many movies about that kind of stuff. I haven't heard of any stories about that, and I don't think it, frankly, would happen in this life except if God's plan was involved in it. And that's the key. God's plan made Joseph to prosper in jail. Joseph continued to be faithful to God and do God's work. He interpreted some dreams for some people, and what do you know? Before long, a couple years or so, probably a little bit longer than that, he ends up in front of Pharaoh, interpreting Pharaoh's dream. Pharaoh, mind you, is the most powerful man in the world at this time. Egypt had one of the largest empires for ever, all time. As well as at that time, they were the most powerful. And Joseph is in front of Pharaoh, a lowly boy that was sold into slavery, thrown in a ditch, abandoned by his brothers. Well, through this, God's plan rules supreme. He interprets Pharaoh's dream correctly because he says, this is what the Lord says to you. Every point, he gave God the glory for what he was doing. For what was done, the Lord was given the glory. Because it's the Lord's plan, because it's God's plan. Joseph recognized whose plan it was, whose path he was on. So, when Pharaoh made him this, he set him second in command. Once again, second in command. He rises fast. He was literally one night in prison, the next night in the palace. And in front of Pharaoh, or rather underneath Pharaoh, but above every single other person in Egypt. Now, he takes care of the grain supply because Pharaoh's dream was about 7 years of famine coming after 7 years of abundance in Egypt. So he takes care, he stores up grain as the Lord told him to, as the Lord revealed to him. And during these 7 years of famine, lo and behold, his brothers show up wanting to buy some grain from him. So, this place of prosperity that he's in now, wouldn't you think he'd let him have it? Wouldn't you think he'd kind of like, all right, you guys threw me in the ditch. You guys ripped my favorite cloak. It was many colors, and you just tore it up. I like that one. Well, he didn't. Mind you, he messed with them a little bit. And then he scared the nonsense out of them real quick. It's very harsh to them. Put up a full ruse where they had no idea who he was. But in the end, he came and confessed who he was. He broke down crying in front of his brothers and said, "Come closer." They got scared because they realized this man is powerful and could murder us right now. And what we did to him, we deserved to be murdered. But he recognized, and he got reunited with his father once again in his lifetime, at the end of his life. He forgave his brothers. And one of the greatest verses that I think, Genesis 50:20, says he's Joseph speaking to his brothers, and they're terrified still that he could still kill them at any point. But he says, what you guys meant for evil against me, God meant for good. And today I want everyone to be encouraged that God's plan may seem evil at times. We don't understand why God works. We don't understand why bad things happen to good people sometimes. We don't understand why there is so much disease, sickness, and disaster in the world, but God's plan will reign supreme and it will happen. Joseph stayed faithful to God, and God honored him and had a great plan for his life. So, just to make sure you guys are paying attention, what we're going to do today is a little bit different than normal. We're going to kind of run a little bit of a play, a skit. So I didn't use verses from the Bible. So what we're going to do is I'm going to choose a few key players. And these key players are going to act out this story so we get everything kind of reiterated in our heads. So I'm going to choose a Joseph. Anyone specifically want to be Joseph? I'm gonna choose my brother as Joseph. But I got plenty. I think it's perfect. And by the way, I can be an older brother because he's my younger brother, and I can throw him in a ditch somewhere or sell him. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But I'll also need 2 guys. Let's go with 2. We'll give you 2 right here. Yep, both of you. Come on now. We're not going to choose 11, but you guys are going to be older brothers, all right? You guys are going to be older brothers of Joseph. And... Oh, goodness. All right, where was I? Now, I'm going to need a... anyone want to be a Potiphar?
That guy right there.
Anyone want to be a Potiphar? Debbie, come be Potiphar. Come be Pharaoh's royal guard captain. All right, Potiphar, Debbie.
She's the chief jailer.
Let's choose, anyone want to be Pharaoh? You could relax for a little bit because your part's not coming up yet.
Right there. He's shaking his head no.
Yeah, Michael. Michael, I think you're Pharaoh. Come sit on my chair. Listen up, you'll share with me.
You make a good pharaoh. Walk like an Egyptian.
All right. So, I'm gonna have Zach read these key verses, and I'm gonna fill in the blanks because I enjoy talking so much. And I'll play any other part that we may need. So, first off, we're gonna have, mind you, I don't want to hear any talking. Okay. You are his older brothers. You guys represent 11 other brothers. So make yourselves big. This is going to be Joseph. So Joseph is proud that his dad loves him, that his dad gave him a coat of many colors, and he's having some fun time right now. Being a young man, living his life. He knows that he can do anything he wants. He can talk. He can talk, but his brothers don't really like him too much.
So now Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a varicolored tunic. His brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, and so they hated him and could not speak to him on friendly terms.
All right, so these men, they don't like him. They don't like him very much. Mind you, they're older than him. These guys are obviously older than him. But they don't have it says they can't say anything kind to him. So, next one.
Then some Midianite traders passed by, so they pulled him up and lifted Joseph out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. Thus they brought Joseph into Egypt.
So they brought him into Egypt. They took him, sold him, and now he's stuck there. So now, I'm going to throw him down here. He's sold. He's sold, right? Alright, where's my Potiphar? So, now, his master... right? So, his master... What would you make your servant do?
Clean the floor!
But the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the sight of the chief jailer.
So he's doing a pretty good job. He's doing things that other people didn't want to do. And look at the smile he has on his face doing those things. Just doing that. You know, how do you feel about him, Potiphar? Has he done a good job? Good job. You got a pat on the back. It's pretty good. So he's raising up in Potiphar's house. And Potiphar says not only clean the floors, but what else does Potiphar do?
You're second in the house.
Oh, that's what Potiphar does. That's right. So he's raised up.
So the chief jailer did not supervise. Okay, so but the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and gave him favor in the sight of the chief jailer. The chief jailer did not supervise anything under Joseph's charge because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper.
So Potiphar was real happy with Joseph for a while. But Potiphar got upset with Joseph because of his wife. So Potiphar threw him in the dungeon. In the dungeon. So needless to say, in the dungeon,
In prison.
he didn't have a very good time. I don't think anyone likes being in the dungeon. But the chief jailer began to have favor with him because of the Lord.
Chief
Because of
jailer?
the Lord. I guess it's Chief Jailer Tim. So, Tim is very fond of Bradley. Very fond. And he begins to grow up through the ranks. And then, not before long, once again, he's in front of Pharaoh. So, Pharaoh has a dream, right? Do you have a dream? What's your dream? Is it that all men are created equal? So, Pharaoh
Dreams.
Gets followed up by 7 fat cows.
What was that again?
7 skin cows gets followed up by 7 fat cows.
Okay. And you want him to, what does that mean, right?
7 skinny cows being swallowed up by 7 fat cows. I shall pray. Alright, got it. You will have 7 years of plenty. That's fat cows, big, fat, 7 years of plenty. Bunch of grain, happiness throughout the land. And then 7 years of famine, where nothing will grow. And God's telling you to prepare for that famine.
All right, so does that sound pretty good, Pharaoh? That sound good? Better than anything else anyone else has told you?
No. At least
No?
you're Pharaoh.
What is-
Of course.
7 years. What's the Bible say?
Okay, so Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has informed you of all this, there is no one so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and according to your command, all my people shall do homage. Only in the throne I will be greater than you. Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt.
All right. So you're proud of him, right?
Yes.
All right, let's get that under control. So you raise him up. You're down still. So you raise him up. Raise him up. Yes. Yes. The second, right?
Yes.
Second. You want to get technical on his right side. His strong arm. So then his brothers come from a distant land. They come in from a distant land, right? You guys hungry? Famished?
Pretty hungry. I'm on the mountain.
So, they don't recognize you. Do you recognize them?
A little bit.
Little bit. Who are they?
Well, whisper. That one's Reuben. I don't remember everything. Judah.
Judah, Ali, a lot of them. All right, so you got your brothers coming before you now, right? Just know, this older brother would never do that. But they did that, and your representative older brothers did that to you. So they're before you, and they're hungry, right? You're good, you're not hungry? You probably had a couple of Reuben sandwiches before you came out. Are you gonna give them food?
No.
You're not gonna give them food?
But please.
Not at first. You can mess with them a little bit, right?
Of course.
You can mess with
Any
them?
other brother would have to tease them.
It's true. But eventually, you break down, right? You break down.
Have mercy on us.
And you tell them the truth, right? You tell them the truth?
I can't take it anymore. I have to tell you. Tell us what? I am Joseph, your younger brother. No. And the ear on the side of his head? Same one. The very same? With the eyeballs, right? You recognize them somewhere. I guess it's accurate. Guys, it's really him.
And God's plan comes full circle to fruition. God allows reconciliation, and eventually Joseph is able to forgive them. I think that's only through the Lord that he can forgive them for something like that.
Don't you give us like a free house or something like that?
Yeah. Contract.
Good.
I do lift you up.
Actually, you guys get the whole land of Goshen, so you guys get to be shepherds over there in this land.
Our dad come?
And yes, your dad comes. Oh, he makes it. He makes it. That old man makes it. Ends up living till 147. 147 years old. But because of this, because of Joseph staying true to the Lord the whole time, Israel grows. And when Israel enters Egypt, there's 70 people. That's not very many. When Israel leaves Egypt during the Exodus, there are 2.5 million. the Lord grows them through Egypt and uses that to make a great nation. Through his plan, of course. His plan. All right. Give a round of applause. All right, so we're gonna have one quick song. We're gonna have a quick song.